a very key part of the shoulder examination, like the core stability examination with squatting, actually comes from evaluating the control of the body in the shoulder posteriorly. This is actually what we call scapular dyskinesia if the muscles are actually discoordinated or not working properly. So looking from the back, what we want to see is general position of the shoulder to make sure that he's symmetric on both sides. One's not elevated, his shoulder is not winged. And then we'll do about 4 different movements to try to exacerbate abnormal motion in his shoulder. So shrug your shoulders backwards, forwards, up, and down. And for this young man, as we watch him go backwards, shrug your shoulders backwards, you can see this shoulder actually elevates slightly higher than the other side. So he has a mild degree of scapular dyskinesia in this position. Now we're going to have him put his hands on his hips. And we're going to have you shrug your shoulders backwards, forwards, up, and down. And here, as you see him relax and come down, you see that his right shoulder actually depresses and comes down slower than the left shoulder, showing some evidence of poor coordination in his right shoulder as he's coming down. We can actually measure, by measuring the scapular glides, the position of the medial border of the scapula on either side relative to the midline. So we'll have him shrug his shoulders backwards again and forwards, and that total glide motion should be similar on both sides. The third position that we'll check is with his arms outstretched out to the side, and again we'll have him go through, bring your shoulders backwards, forwards, up, and down. And again, you see this shoulder come down a little slower. This shoulder actually rotates slightly more forward than the opposite side, indicating scapular dyskinesia. Last part that we'll do is actually have him point his hands forward. I tell the patient to be like Superman. And again, we're going to look at the medial borders of his scapula, see if we're symmetric on both sides, and then elevate his hands above his head and slowly bring them back down. And again, as you watch him slowly bring his shoulder down, his right shoulder actually comes down a little bit slower than the opposite side. Last part of this examination we commonly do is do a wall push-up, and we'll have him stand up. If you'll please stand up, lean against the wall, and we'll have him push against the wall, and you can actually give him some resistance with your hand, and what you're looking for is to see if the scapula wings out or wings up with that motion, which we don't really see in this young man.